The Arab League's decision to restore Syria's membership after a decade of suspension was a major diplomatic victory for Bashar al-Assad. The decision came after regional top diplomats met in Jordan to discuss a roadmap to return Syria to the Arab fold as the conflict continues to de-escalate. The meeting was seen as a preparatory step for the upcoming Arab League summit, which will be hosted by Saudi Arabia on May. Saudi Arabia, along with other Gulf states, had been one of the main backers of the Syrian opposition and had cut off ties with Damascus but now, as the war winds down and Assad consolidates his power, the Gulf states are looking to mend fences and secure their interests in Syria. They are also hoping to counter Iran's influence, which has grown significantly due to its support for Assad and his allies. By inviting Syria back to the Arab League, the Gulf states are signaling their willingness to engage with Assad and seek a political solution to the crisis. They are also acknowledging the reality that Assad is not going anywhere and that isolating him only benefits his rivals. The Arab League's decision was welcomed by Syria's allies, such as Russia, Iran and China, who have been calling for an end to the sanctions and isolation imposed on Damascus. They see the decision as a recognition of Syria's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and a step towards restoring stability and security in the region. However, the decision was criticized by some of Syria's opponents, such as Turkey, which still supports some rebel groups and controls parts of northern Syria. Turkey accused the Arab League of betraying the Syrian people and their aspirations for democracy and human rights. Turkey also warned that the decision would undermine the efforts of the UN-led peace process, which aims to establish a transitional government and a new constitution in Syria. The Arab League's decision also raised questions about the fate of the Syrian opposition, which has been weakened and fragmented by years of war and infighting. Some opposition figures expressed disappointment and frustration with the Arab League's move, saying that it would legitimize Assad's regime and abandon the Syrian people's demands for justice and accountability. Others said that they understood the pragmatic reasons behind the decision and hoped that it would lead to more pressure on Assad to make concessions and reforms. The Arab League's decision to reinstate Syria was a significant development in the Syrian conflict, which has killed hundreds of thousands of people and displaced millions more since it showed that Assad has managed to survive and regain his legitimacy in the eyes of some of his former enemies. It also showed that the regional dynamics have shifted in favor of dialogue and cooperation over confrontation and isolation. However, it remains to be seen whether the decision will translate into tangible changes on the ground and pave the way for a lasting peace in Syria. The Arab League's decision to restore Syria's membership was not only a symbolic gesture of reconciliation. It also included a commitment to ongoing dialogue with Arab governments to gradually reach a political solution to the conflict, in line with United Nations Security Council resolution. This resolution, adopted in 2015, calls for a ceasefire, a transitional government, a new constitution and free elections in Syria. However, implementing this resolution has been challenging due to the complexity of the Syrian war and the divergent interests of the regional and international actors involved. The Arab League hopes that by engaging with Assad and his allies, it can facilitate a peaceful and inclusive political process that respects the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Syria and meets the legitimate aspirations of the Syrian people.